Hey guys, this is Showstopper 414 back with a PlanetSide video. Today we are going to be starting up a series called The Trials of War. In this new series, I will be talking about real-life battles and tactics and how they can be used effectively in a game like PlanetSide. So, today, the first thing we'll be talking about is sieges. Sieges are a very common thing in PlanetSide 2. Whenever you defend your base and start going for the next base, you're essentially getting ready for a siege. One of the most important first steps of a siege is to get your sunders in place. The sunders allow you to bring your troops into the area of the battle, which is one of the most important things of the sieges. If you can't get your troops there and keep them there, you can't have a siege. Generally, what a siege is when a force surrounds an enemy encampment or fortification and surrounds them for a long amount of time, usually attempting to starve them out or just break the morale of the people. Unfortunately, in PlanetSide 2, none of the soldiers are going to be starving anytime soon, and there's not much of a population to really scare off. So, what you're probably thinking, well, if none of the real-life tactics work, what's the point of this series? Well, there are still some things we can take from real life to apply to this series. So, what I mentioned is supplies. To a defender, supplies are important, but in our case, when we're attacking, our defenders have unlimited supplies. That is why it is extremely important to not only get sundies where you can spawn, but also sundies that can provide ammo and healing to troops around the area. Another really important thing is to get your heavy tanks in position. If you don't have your heavy tanks in position around your sunder, they're going to get rushed and they're never going to be able to set up. The next very important thing about a siege is that you want to have good sundie placement. You should be putting your sundies around the base so that your soldiers have many different options in which way they can attack. Another thing that'll help with sundie placement is to probe for easy access around the base. Here's where the real-life part comes in. In the siege of Slovetsky Monastery, 1,000 Russian soldiers were attacking a fortified monastery. What was happening is the monastery was very fortified, and these monks were able to hold the facility. They also had the support of the normal people and had plenty of supplies to last them for a very long time. Kind of like how that our enemies have unlimited resources in their base in PlanetSide. So, the only way the Russians were eventually able to crack this is one of the monks showed the Russians a window that they could enter in. So, if they were able to find a window and be able to crack the base, we need to find an entrance that's not well defended. So, this can be done in a couple of ways. First off, probably the easiest way is you just send a foot soldier to go look and see if they're not defending any of the other entrances, and then put a sundie there. Another way is you can send some aircraft to go scout the area from above. Liberators can be especially good at this because they're able to hover, scout more, and they can take a couple more hits than an ESF can. Finally, the way to do it is you don't find an easy spot and you just take a galaxy and drop straight into their base, which can be a good strategy depending on the siege. Speaking about air support though, air support is a very important key thing to have when you're sieging a base. If you're able to get attacks over the wall without having to actually bring soldiers in there that can hit their fortifications from behind are very important, especially those key chokeholds. If you're able to get ESFs up in the air and then get liberators behind them, you'll be able to take out most of any type of defensive fortification they have, defending their walls. So, once you've cracked the outer defenses of the base and now you're moving in, what you should probably try to do is you need to move to an ambient building, meaning There's nothing really of importance there. It's just kind of off to the side. What you need to do then is, if you can establish a foothold inside that building, it can be good. Throw spawn points in there so people can drop from above, get ammo, turrets, some medics in there, and be able to create a strong thing. But it is very important not to get trapped in this building. You still want to maintain mobile, because the most important building in the facilities are the point buildings. You want the most of your forces defending or attacking these point buildings. Once you are inside the facility, it is also very important to try to capture vehicle terminals. Either destroy them completely or hack them for your own use. You don't want all these well-placed Sundies to go to waste, because the enemy was able to take out a couple tanks and then attack your Sundies that are not defended anymore, because all your people are inside the base now. Another thing that's probably a little bit more controversial but works very well is spawn trapping. Spawn trapping can be effective in the right ways. What is effective is to get buildings that have a good view of the enemy spawn and that you can pick them off when they come out of the building, especially buildings that have an upper floor or that can have a mana anti-infantry turret easily set up in to suppress enemies that are coming out of the base. You also want to try to secure buildings around buildings that have exits to teleporters and other ways where an enemy could easily walk there from their spawn. One of the final things you need to watch out for once you've cracked their defenses and got in to their room is a max crash. Max crash is arguably the most annoying tactic to go up against in PlanetSide 2, but it is effective, very effective. And although there's not a lot of hints to give to beat a max crash besides bring your heavy assaults and get that C4 out, is that just be prepared for it. Keep your eyes on the minimap and get your troops ready for it. Another tip that I found very useful is that maxes tend to shy away if you're able to get a hallway with a bunch of anti-infantry turrets suppressing. Although it's not going to do a lot of damage, it generally discourages maxes from walking down the hallway to take the damage. And as much as it is just kind of a counterattack, if you can spawn lots of maxes in to counter that max crash, the main thing is stopping it. And if that requires you to max crash too, so be it. So guys, that has been the basic overview of how to besiege an enemy base. I hope this was insightful for you. And a quick review over it is that when you first get into the base, what you need to do is you need to set up Sundies around the base so you can get supplies and soldiers to the place you're attacking. Make sure to spread your Sundies out around the base so that your soldiers can attack from different angles. Protect these Sundie locations with heavy vehicles and turret emplacements so that your Sundies are not able to be taken out right when they get there. Try to find an easy access place, whether that's on the ground or through the air. Remember the siege of Sovetski, and remember, sometimes all you need is a small window to be able to crack through a tough enemy defense. Also remember to get air support. It's really easy to take out Sundies with a well-placed Liberator, so make sure you get your own air support in the air so you can use it against them. Once you are inside the base, try to secure a building that is not the point building to be able to have a strong foothold in, but then attack the point building as quick as possible. Remember to take out vehicle terminals so you're not fighting off more tanks, and make sure you have good views on the spawn and teleport rooms. Always be prepared for that max crash because it could come at any time. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Showstopper out.